afternoon, Geoff Sinclair. Thank you very much for joining me to have a quick chat about the topic that you are going to be presenting at our upcoming Health, Safety and Welfare Conference in July. Welcome.
Thank you, Meredith. Great to be joining you today.
Yeah, thank you. So you're going to be talking at the conference on the 12th of July, which is our second session, which is all about our sport environment at 7:25 p.m. from memory. And the topic that you're going to be talking about is supporting our officials to confidently do their role and manage any conflict that may arise in our equestrian sport. From what I've read, you started a pony club, you've had over 50 years of interactions with horses and people. You've also officiated at 5 Olympic Games since Sydney in 2000. You're still a technical delegate, active official at many of our events. And you also support internationally. You spend a lot of time as the chair of FEI's Risk Management Steering Group, which focuses on how we can reduce horse falls. And also you have a lot of interaction still at events internationally and with our officials across the world. So what a wonderful contributor you are. So we're really looking forward to hearing from you.
Thanks for that, Meredith. It all sounds like a lot, but I've got to say I get as much out of it as you put back in. And if we can make the sport better for everybody and safer, then that's a real close interest of mine.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. And I believe you still ride a horse and do a bit of polo?
I stupidly still play polo badly.
Oh, well, at least you're keeping active and you know, you're in the saddle, which is wonderful. So Geoff, it's very difficult to run our sport without having our officials, and many of those are volunteers and just wonderful people that give their time. Can you share one helpful tip with your wealth of experience of how we can empower our officials and anyone else within our sport?
I think one helpful tip, I think I'd say definitely go out and recognising that as an official you're there to support the riders, support the organising committee and make sure everything runs as smoothly and to the rules that we want or fairly as possible. Making the sporting decisions along the way, but also applying the rules. So I guess one tip is you're there to help bring everything together and facilitate it so it's a great competition for the riders and for the organisers.
Yeah, great thought. And of course, at times we will have those difficult conversations, maybe with some of our participants, supporters, family, others, which no one really likes to have to participate in. But with your years of experience as a TD in officiating and in other roles, can you share some insight into how we can work towards, favourable outcomes when we are having a little bit of those difficult conversations?
I think the first thing is to recognise that don't put them under the carpet. Actually, you do need to address them. And then the second thing is always to take the emotion out. It's not a great time to speak to a person at the end of cross country when they've come straight off or when an incident's just happened. And 99% of incidents are not urgent. It can take time. So take a breath, take time. Then when it's right, find the time and try and have a sensible conversation. I think you'd be surprised how often people recognise that there is a problem and that it needs to be addressed. And certainly amongst the riding community, they all see it when other people get away with it and think, how did they do that? So take your time, take the emotion out, and then simply go and have a straight conversation and always listening to the other person's point of view first. Tell me what happened. Open questions. Tell me what happened. Let me know what you thought, and then maybe come back with what you've got. And collecting evidence is always useful. It's great now. We've got so many videos. People have got phones everywhere that they can do things with. That sort of stuff helps.
Yeah, I love that comment you made about listening, Geoff, because we've got 2 ears and 1 mouth, and sometimes we forget that, don't we?
Yeah, well, if you ask them first to give their view, it'll just, sometimes it's nothing, and other times they splurge out a lot of stuff and may even know the problem first. So it's actually much easier with people that sort of accept, hang on, I didn't get that right, and what should I do next? More education, or should I have pulled up, or what should I have done?
Yeah, some wonderful insight. So one more question. In your opinion and your wealth of experience, which is worldwide, Geoff, we're so fortunate to have you as a leader in our sport. In your opinion, what does a great umpire or racing steward or equestrian official look like?
So I think, all of us that watch sport, whether it's tennis or the AFL football or racing going on, you hear this, particularly those really televised public sports. You hear the public really screaming at the umpires if it's not right, and you've got the television reviews.
Yep.
And I think the expectation amongst all sports people is much greater today, and they want an umpire that's fair and makes the right decision, not one that lets people get away with stuff, and not one that is just coming down too hard all the time. So how do you see, and I think in our sport the problem is probably not addressing the problem enough,
Yes.
more than coming down too hard. I think generally we're actually really nice with the competitors, but they're friends, and I imagine AFL footballers are friends with the umpires off the field too, and I imagine in racing the stewards are very friendly with the jockeys too, but they are responsible for, they're working there for Equestrian Australia at these events, responsible for making sure the rules are fairly implemented. And so what does a good umpire look like? Well, you just think about it in any other sport. It's the one that actually makes the right decision for the AFL or for racing or for the future of the sport. We want everybody to make the right decision that EA would want to keep the sport viable and safe for the future.
Yeah. Wow. You've just put it beautifully, Geoff, and really looking forward to hearing a bit more about your insight and keeping our sport moving forward and supporting our officials, because really at the end of the day, we don't have officials and events. We don't have competition, do we, or a sport? So.
And that's, look, to be honest, I think that's what so many riders aspire to. They want to go on. We've got, if you go back over the last 50 years, we've got forever increasing competitions. So we've got more now than we've ever had, and higher grades with interschools or with different FEI events in around the world. It's growing. And therefore, the quality of the horses, the quality of the competition, but also the quality of the officials has all improved a lot, which is great. We've got that commitment, but we need to keep going if we want our sport to be socially acceptable in the future. Yes,
and we want to encourage some more younger officials to come through that can work with the experienced officials and, set them up to succeed. So your advice is going to be wonderful to listen to. Looking forward to hearing from you on the 12th of July at our second session, and very much about supporting our officials and in their role and managing conflict. Is there anything else you want to say before?
No, thanks. I mean, you've talked too much about me, but I think thank you, Meredith, for all you and the EA does to try and keep growing and supporting sport, and look forward to chatting to everybody on the 12th.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.
Bye.